Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the ROC webinar and presented this afternoon by myself, Dylan Kemler, and Marlene next to me, managing the IT. Before we start, we just want to apologize for yesterday and a few gremlins. So let's just make sure we're on track before we continue. So if you can hear me, please just type yes in the chat box, just so that we can make sure that we are going live. Can you guys hear me? Just testing. We just need to confirm that live. Can anybody hear? I'm not too sure. We've just sent on a message. I really hope these gremlins are in this afternoon. A couple of an hour or two ago, and everything was working fine. So I hope that you guys can hear me. Or is there anybody there? Okay, we're not getting on the chat box side either. So now I'm not really cannot hear anything. Okay, we've just got a reply from Susan. Just to see. Okay, so it sounds like I've just got Ken that says Mike. There's a couple of good afternoon, everybody. Yo, this is not easy, eh? But no, it's a story with this ROC webinar. But here we are. Welcome to ROC webinar. And just one more thing, then my IT specialist wants to know: can you see the audio? So if you can see the audio, Ken or Mike, just type audio or picture or something on the right hand side, and we can just make sure you can see that before we continue. And not too sure, not getting any replies from you guys, so I don't know if you can see the audio. Transmission is intermittent from Michaela. Is anybody else not picking me up so well? In that case, I won't speak too much. We'll go straight to the audio, to the video if we have to. And are you guys able to see the picture? That's the next question. We've actually never had all of these problems before. It says, can you hear audio and see image? Okay, there we go. Thank you, Ken. Okay, so afternoon, everybody. One or two people struggling to hear me. But let's just see what else everyone says. See the image, drone, audio and image. Okay, it's sounding a picture. Sounding, there we go. Welcome, everybody. We are hosting the ROC webinar this afternoon from our Port Alfred office. And just to give you a brief summary, obviously just an introductory, and then we're going to proceed straight to the recorded presentation, which is being presented by Cornell. She's our we call her our queen of ROC. So she's going to guide you through the process, the daunting task going through the process. And we obviously, and we facilitate clients through that. But the objective here is for you to actually understand what is this fast that the South African Civil Aviation Authority, put together for those people interested in going this route. And this is for those specifically that want to go in the commercial side of the drone industry and it's a requirement from the CAA to have this. So the recording you're going to listen to, and then I'll obviously come back off that, is approximately 23 minutes long. It's compacted everything into the. So there might be some things that you don't understand as she's doing the discussion and so on. Please just make some notes. And you're welcome to ask questions in the chat box while it's going through. So we'll be able to answer you, not a problem. And at the end of the 23-minute presentation, then I'll be coming back and I'll be doing a question and answer session with the floor, and be able to help you out with any questions that you have. So without further ado, let's go straight into the presentation, and I'll see you guys on the other side of it. Thank you.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Cornell Morton, and the Talking Radio team and I welcome you to our presentation on the 5-phase process associated with the RPAS Operator Certificate, also known by the term ROC. The ROC application is applied for through the South African Civil Aviation Authority, also better known as the CAA. Just for interest's sake, if you were wondering, the term RPAS is used by the South African Civil Aviation Authority to describe a drone, and it means remotely piloted aircraft systems. So from here on, if I refer to RPAS, you would know what it means. You would also need to have a registered company, close corporation, or trust in order to apply for an ROC. Please feel free to visit the Civil Aviation Authority website for more information on the RPAS regulations and technical standards. Their website is www.caa.co.za. Once on the homepage, open the tab at the top named Information for the Industry, scroll down and click on the tab right at the bottom of that list called Remotely Piloted Aircraft Systems. This page will give you some valuable information on the operations and regulations associated with operating an RPAS legally in South Africa. There are 5 phases applicable to the ROC application process, which consist of the following. Phase 1, pre-application process. Phase 2, the formal application. Phase 3, document evaluation. Phase 4, demonstration and inspection, and Phase 5, certification, that is your ROC approval. Each of these 5 phases comprise of subcategories which need to be completed in order to move on to the next phase. I will be giving you some guidance on what is needed in order to achieve each one of these phases. Before we move on to the first phase, it is important to know whether the establishment of an ROC is applicable to you. The ROC application is applicable to the following prospective operators. First of all, commercial, which means any operation of an RPAS in return for remuneration or other valuable consideration, which is available to the public, or, when not available to the public, which is performed under a contract between an operator and a customer. In short, if you get paid for the job, you have to establish an ROC. Corporate, which means any operation in which no form of remuneration or reward is received for the RPAS services, and the service is conducted solely as an aid to conduct of your own business. Non-profit, which means any operation conducted for the benefit of the general public without shareholders and without a profit motive. In other words, non-profits pay no income tax on the donations they receive or any money they earn through fundraising activities. Now you may also ask, how many people do my company have to consist of in order to qualify for the ROC application process? Quite simple, a minimum of 2 people. There are 6 positions that must be filled, and the post can be assigned between 2 people, provided all requirements are fulfilled. The post holders must be suitably qualified. That means have done the safety management, quality assurance, and security courses. With this in mind, the following structure is recommended. Post 1, accountable manager, which is normally the CEO or the director, person responsible for flight operations, and person responsible for aircraft. Post 2, the safety manager and the quality manager. The security manager can be combined with either of the above. However, it would be preferred to allocate the security function to someone who is directly involved in the operations, for instance, the pilot. Okay, so if you haven't run into the hills yet, we can continue with our explanation on the 5-phase process, starting with phase 1, the pre-application with the Civil Aviation Authority. Phase 1 consists of the following: submission of the letter of intent, the RPAS registration application, the air service license with the Department of Transport, and the recommended completion of your remote pilot license course. Phase 1, the letter of intent. For this application, you would need to complete Form CA 101-02. As the name implies, this is the notification that is sent via email to the South African Civil Aviation Authority explaining the intentions with regards to operating your RPAS. Please note that you will not be able to apply for this as a person, but will do so as a company, close corporation, or trust. Therefore, it is very important that you have a registered company in place for your intended operations. Most companies choose a trading as name, which operates under the umbrella of their main company. Please contact the CIPC should you need more clarification on using a trading as name for the use of your ROC application. Once the CAA has received the letter of intent, they will respond with an email confirming receipt of your application, as well as information on the 5-phase process and some attachments. This email also serves as the pre-application meeting and will state this fact. Now, from experience, this is normally the time where clients contact me in a bit of a panic, even after pre-warning them of this fact, as it can all seem very overwhelming. Talking Radio has, however, developed a step-by-step process in order to take each applicant through this mountain of information without them wanting to jump off the nearest bridge. So do not fear. If you choose to work with Talking Radio, we will endeavor to make the process as smooth as possible, providing you with a lot of guidance and examples. Registering your RPAS with the South African Civil Aviation Authority. For this application, you would need Form CA 47-R1. It is once again important to note that the RPAS must be registered under your company's name and not your personal name. You will need a number of supporting documents to accompany the RPAS registration application, such as the company registration certificate, which must indicate all directors as approved in terms of the Companies Act number 71 of 2008, an authorized resolution, certified copies of the South African identity document, South African passport, or valid South African driver's license, an affidavit confirming non-registration or deregistration of the RPAS from the state or territory from which it was imported, ownership of the RPA, the serial number of the RPA, and a copy of the clearance importation document issued by South African Revenue Service, if applicable. Should you have bought the RPAS locally, or it was given to you as a gift from your lovely wife or husband or best friend, an affidavit stating this fact. This application must be completed in black ink, and the original including the supporting documents and the confirmation of the relevant application fee must be posted or couriered to the South African Civil Aviation Registry Department. We urge you to courier it rather than posting the application, as you have better chances of ensuring that it gets delivered into the right hands at the Civil Aviation Authority. Apply for your air service license, also known as the ASL, with the Department of Transport. Please note that the ASL application is only applicable to companies applying as a commercial operator. corporate and non-profit operation is exempted from this application. The ASL application would probably take up most of your time, as you need to source quite a number of documents and complete a number of letters, sworn affidavits, and of course the dreaded 7-page application form. Once again, Talking Radio has developed a guidance procedure with templates and examples for most of the required letters, affidavits, and forms needed for this application. This application has to be completed in 7-fold, 1 original and 6 copies. One of these copies will be forwarded to the CAA by the Department of Transport for approval as part of the formal application Phase 2 process. The document must be presented neatly and must include a cover page and a letter on your company letterhead and include a table of contents. You will also need the following documentation for the ASL application. First, the application form TV 339, which must be certified by the Commissioner of Oaths. Second, confirmation of payment of the application fee. Third, an authorizing resolution. Fourth, a management plan which must include an organizational organogram of the key post holders, copies of the key post holders' CVs, certified copies of their identity documents, signed letters of acceptance of responsibilities for each key post holder, and certified copies of their qualifications, for example, the Air Service Safety Officer. Fifth, aircraft documents, which must include the RPAS Certificate of Registration as issued by the Civil Aviation Authority, the ICASA Radio Spectrum License Certificate for the handheld VHF radio to be used, or the proof of payment to the ICASA for this application if it is still in process. Sixth, proof of third-party insurance or a letter from an insurance company stating your intention to insure. Seventh, company documents, which includes the certificate to commence business, memorandum of association, and the memorandum of incorporation. Eighth, financial statement, which includes audited financial statements or a 12-month financial projection or a pro forma balance sheet, and on a company letterhead, the company's assets and liabilities. Ninth, BBBEE certificate. If your company's income is less than 10 million per year, a BBBEE affidavit for exemption and a letter from your accountant stating this fact. And finally, 10th, the tax clearance certificate for your company. The ASL application can be handed in at the Department of Transport by hand or by courier services. Once the Department of Transport has received your application, the Air Service Licensing Council will review the documents and in time contact you for a formal meeting in person to discuss the application and whether any other information is required. Following this, if all parties are satisfied with the application, you will be issued with an Air Service License Certificate. It is important to understand that you will not be able to obtain approval for your ROC from the Civil Aviation Authority without the ASL certificate if you are applying as a commercial operator. It is recommended by the Civil Aviation Authority that the Remote Pilot License, also known as the RPL, be completed during Phase 1. However, the RPL must be completed before commencing Phase 4, which is the demonstration and inspection phase of the CAA 5-phase process. Phase 2, the formal application with the CAA. Phase 2 consists of the following: submission of the proposed schedule of events form CA 101-13, submission of the operations specification draft form, an internal CAA form which will be emailed to you, submission of the prospective RPAS pre-assessment statement form, CA 101-10. All three of these forms can be submitted to the CAA via email. After receipt of these forms, the CAA will review the information and arrange a formal meeting with the applicant. After the meeting, the CAA will notify the applicant in writing whether the application was accepted or declined. Should the application be declined, the CAA will provide a full explanation of the reasons the application was unsuccessful. The proposed schedule of events, Form CA 101-13. The reason for this form is in order to put a time frame, although flexible, on your ROC application. In other words, the CAA will use this as a guideline when you are, more or less, planning to commence each phase of the 5-phase process. It is important to remember that this time frame is only a proposal and certainly not set in stone. It is also important to remember that each phase of the 5-phase process can only be commenced on completion of the previous phase. Therefore, without any doubt, jumping the gun is not possible during your ROC application. The Operation Specification Draft Form, more commonly known as the OPS Spec Draft Form. This form will be emailed to you by the CAA when they confirm receipt of your letter of intent. The OPS Spec Draft Form is used as a notification to the CAA of which exemptions you will be applying for, which falls outside of the normal scope for the Part 101 regulations. For example, operating within 50 meters of a public road. The requested limitations will also have to be addressed in the applicant's operations manual. Approval of the requested limitation shall be at the sole discretion of the CAA and may not be applied if not officially approved by the CAA. It is important to remember that should the limitations be approved, the responsibility still lies with the ROC operator to obtain permission from any landowners, other governmental organizations, such as the local municipality, the Central Airspace Management Unit, or otherwise known as CAMU, Air Traffic Control, etc., whichever is applicable. In other words, the CAA will be the only organization you would not have to obtain pre-approval from before you commence any planned operation. The Prospective RPAS Pre-Assessment Statement Form, otherwise known as the POPS form. This form must be submitted in order to initiate the formal application with the CAA. The following supporting documents must be submitted with the POPS form. CVs of all the nominated key post holders, which must be the same as the key post holders as per your ASL application, and, should you not have submitted them at an earlier stage, the completed operation specifications draft form and the completed proposed schedule of events form. The formal application meeting with the CAA. Once the POPS form, operation specifications draft form, and the proposed schedule of events form has been received and reviewed by the CAA, the applicant will be invited to a formal application meeting with the relevant personnel at the CAA. Depending on the application, the formal meeting may, at the discretion of the inspector, be conducted via telephone and/or email correspondence. The purpose of this meeting is to discuss the application process and resolve any omissions and/or discrepancies and to answer any questions from either party. This meeting is for the benefit of encouraging an effective working relationship between the applicant and the CAA. As stated before, the applicant shall be notified by the CAA in writing whether the application has been accepted or declined. Should the application be declined, a full explanation of reasons shall be provided. So here's to holding all thumbs and toes that all is well and you may proceed with phase 3 of the 5-phase process. Phase 3, document evaluation, consisting of the following documents: the operations manual and associated documents, the application for an ROC form CA101-03, the application for RPAS letter of approval form CA101-01, and the proof of payment for all the above applications. Once the formal application has been accepted and confirmed in writing by the CAA, the applicant would need to submit the RPAS Operations Manual, otherwise known as the ROM, which includes the Quality Management System and the Safety Management System, to the CAA for approval. For more guidance on the required contents of the Operations Manual, please refer to the technical guidance material specific to the Operations Manual on the CAA website. You would also need to submit the CA101-03 form, which is the application for an ROC, as well as the CA101-01 form, which is the application for the RPAS letter of approval for each RPAS to be used under the ROC. The CAA will do a thorough review of the Operations Manual and its associated documents. Should the Operations Manual be incomplete or deficient, or if any non-compliance with the regulations or unsafe operating procedures be detected, the manual will be returned to the applicant for corrective action. Should the manual and its associated documents be found to be satisfactory, they will be approved or accepted by the relevant CAA inspector. Phase 4. Demonstration and inspection by the Civil Aviation Authority. After approval or acceptance has been received from the Civil Aviation Authority for all the required documentation, the applicant will enter Phase 4, which is the demonstration and inspection phase. The applicant would need to demonstrate its ability to comply with Part 101 regulations, the RPAS Operations Manual, as well as safe operating practices. This phase includes an on-site evaluation of all policies, procedures, methods, and instructions as described by the regulations, as well as the RPAS Operations Manual. The demonstration would depend on the company's intended operations and will be specified by the inspector who will be assessing the demonstration. The demonstration is particularly important for those operators who applied for exemptions, for example, to operate within controlled airspace or within restricted airspace. 5. Certification. If you have made it this far, you are certainly on your way to an approved ROC. Reaching Phase 5 means that your document compliance and demonstration and inspection phases has been successful. At this stage, you must also be in possession of your Air Service license from the Air Service Licensing Council. You will be issued with an RPAS operator certificate as well as the operation specifications. The operation specifications will contain authorizations, limitations, and provisions applicable to your intended operations. You, as the ROC holder, shall be responsible for continued compliance with the regulations, authorizations, limitations, and provisions of the certificate and operational specifications. The Civil Aviation Authority shall be responsible for conducting periodic inspections of the ROC holder's operation to ensure continued compliance with the regulations and safe operating procedures.
Okay, everybody. So, wow, a lot of information to take. Like that. Or maybe there's a bit of a delay response again, like what happened just now. So we just type in a message quickly, what is there, and I'm just looking for any response before I continue. And basically, I just want to give you guys a bit more feedback with regards to what Kunal just. There is this, so we've just put that up on the screen as well, or sorry, on the chat box section, and you should be able to hear me in a couple of seconds, I hope. Okay, so there we go. Mike, thanks very much. You guys got me. All right, so that was a real lot of information in 23 minutes. Obviously, it's very compact, and it's a lot of information to take in. And I can't blame you guys for saying that's it. We out of here. But remember, the objective here was to familiarize the applicant having a better idea and insight into what is the remote operator certification and what's the procedure. When this came about, in 2015, July of 2015, in fact, a lot of people were very skeptical about it and were hoping it was going to go away and fall away. But this process, this procedure actually mirrors what they call the aviation training organizations. Abbreviation again is the ATO for the flying fraternity in South Africa. So this is what you're doing. You're actually mirroring a process which is already in place. And the process that's been put together here is then obviously unique for what will be called, which is part 101 of the certification process. Now,
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kunal Morton, and the Talking Radio team and I welcome you to our presentation on the
Oh man, so I seem to have gone off the screen there for a few seconds. So again, I'm just going to ask you guys to just let me know when you can hear me. We apologize about that again. But that was the system is just doing its own thing. It's like us versus the computer versus the system. I'm just typing up another message again in the chat box and waiting for you guys to hear me, give me a thumbs up. And we're just waiting for anybody to just give me a green light, and I can continue with the discussion. So we're back again. So remote operator certification, it is ironic. It's called Part 101 if you think about it. So it's the Part 101 for ROC dummies, kind of, if you look at this whole picture. This process that you've had a look at or been introduced to is been designed to give you a better idea of what's included in each process, or should I say in each phase of the process. And you can't go from phase 1 to phase 2 unless you have completed phase 1. There are a few exceptions though. So for those of you who are thinking about getting involved in this process and going into commercial drone operations, but you don't yet, maybe you do have a drone, you purchased one, you own it, but you haven't completed what's called your RPL, your remote pilot license. The good news with it is you don't have to first complete the remote pilot license before you can apply for the ROC. So in other words, you can do them in conjunction with each other. But by the end of phase 3 of this 5-phase process, you need to have your remote pilot license. Otherwise, you can't progress. So you can see how it all works hand in hand with each other. And basically, the document that you're putting together here, which is called your operations manual, and as you heard, that includes your quality and safety management system.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kunal Morton, and the Talking Radio team and I welcome you to our presentation on the 5-phase process associated with the RPAS operator.
Did you tell her to? up and down. It's totally beyond our control. I'm gonna, for this section here, much more, I don't understand why it keeps kicking out. So we're just going to keep it as short as possible. And once you guys come back, I'm gonna just give you a little bit more brief, small brief on this. And as soon as that's concluded, then I want to open the floor for any questions that you guys might have. Okay, so thanks, Jonathan. So yeah, as I was saying, the RPL is you can do it in conjunction with the application for the ROC. So that's the good news with this process. Now, as you go through this process as well, there isn't really, a time restriction on each phase. It's obviously dependent on you, and it's also dependent in each term of each phase of the ROC application. There's a costing as well for various items that you're going to need along the way, and then of course for the licensing as well with the Department of Transport and the Civil Aviation Authority. So these are the kind of things that you are going to need to budget for. From our side, from Talking Radio side, if we can make these available to you in terms of what the what the costing is, what's the best process to follow, and what I'm also just putting up on the right hand side in terms of ROC facilitation, obviously from A to Z through this process. So should you decide that you're going to go through the process yourself, obviously you just follow the slideshow and it's taking you from A to Z through the process of the application itself. If you decided you would rather have somebody to assist you, then, well, that's where we fit in as Talking Radio. So we can assist the client with the development of the remote of the quality and the safety management system. Clients are already going through this process, and we ourselves are learning as we go along. Got a very good working relationship with the CAA, and we are able to identify any questions or any that we might not be able to answer straight away, which you will experience as well. If to say you won't have an open door with the CAA either. It's just nice for you to know that your work's already doing this and can take you basically through the process. So while the presentation was on, came forward with a question, which you can see in the chat box, and I replied to him. Is there anybody else that has a possible question that they want? I'm just gonna leave it open for such for a few seconds or a minute or so. And so, with regards to the ROC process itself, maybe you want to know costs associated with not just for the ROC itself or our services, but what else involved in terms of going through this process, and it's excluding a remote pilot license and, of course, the drone. So I just want to see if there's any questions coming through. So far, nothing. It's all looking, so you guys would be able to take a test and you'd be fine. All right, and then we've also just been joined by Cornell, so our own ROC queen is live as well. So if I can't answer something, she is there as well for the next couple of minutes, just to take your questions. So basically, while you may be thinking of a question to ask, this process, as I said earlier, it might seem really daunting. Oh wait, here we go. Jonathan's got a question. So Jonathan's asking, what would you say a good budget is for preparing for the ROC, for example, security cameras, etc.? Okay, Jonathan, thanks for the question. So a budget for the ROC prep, if you're going to be running this process on your own, okay, so let's just say you're doing the ROC facilitation on your own and you're not using services like someone like us that's helping you with that, then you would be looking a good budget, taking everything into account, would be approximately, I'm going to give you a figure of between 68 174,000 rand. Okay, and that's excluding VAT. But I know these figures because I'm working very closely with them. So this is not a thumb soak. This is a fairly accurate figure that I'm giving you. All right. Ken, so Jonathan, please come back to me if you have anything on that. Example, security camera. So in that quote I'm giving to you, I've added an extra 3,000 rand in my figure to include the security cameras. So so 71 was more my ballpark figure. All right, so we've got Kenneth that says, how soon is the drone? So Kenneth, that was already answered, and you need to rerun during phase 1 to apply for your air service license for the register. There we go. I think, Kenneth, you answered your questions on. In fact, thanks for that. Let's go for the Queen. I'm not a king in this, I'm also learning. So I'm just going with Cornell in this. All right, so if you decide to go this process on your own, this is not impossible. It's definitely not impossible. And there are people out there that have done it. We're working with a client at the moment that's in fact started it in December 2015. And it is a long process, but it's not their core business as yet. They're following the process in order to get there. All right, Mike, what is the ROC's renewal process if there is one? Okay, so I'll just answer a little bit, and then Cornell will come through on the writing side as well. So we'll answer it from both sides. So the ROC renewal process is once your ROC has been approved, now you officially got a remote operator certification. That means that you're now licensed to operate commercially under your ROC for 1 year. The CA, by the way, is looking at changing this, but it hasn't come through yet. So we've got to work off of what they've supplied us with. So this means that for that year, you operate under the ROC commercially. They will come and audit, and this is called a surveillance audit, 6 months approximate after the initiation or the audit, the ROC has been awarded to you and you're authorized to operate it. And that's called a surveillance audit, where it's kind of a surprise audit. They just visit on site and what's happening and so on. But then 12 months within that the certification has been given to you by the CAA, they will then come again for an inspection and do the renewal. So they can all pretty much, let's just see. And yes, as she says, the ad hoc, that's exactly, Mike, I'm hoping that answers as it's not part for market. It's not part of the process. It's a renewal process. And we really have from our side review this and change the length of the validity of the ROC itself, just so that it doesn't put you, under pressure every 12 months, that these guys are coming and so on. And they're just checking up on the operations manual and regulations. So basically, you've put in a manual together and you're saying, this is how our company is going to. Now they come in to look at it to see really how your company is operating. So what they do, don't come and spend days on end on site, but when they arrive, they come there and they do sample checks as well. And they will, they come and have a look and say, okay, copy of your flight logs, for example. And like one of our clients now has got electronic flight log system that they're going to be putting into their remote operators manual. So that's fine. The CAA still wants, they accept that, but they still want documentation, so they still want evidence, proof that there's a process being applied. So in this case, everything has to be printed every 90 days. And then we put that into the manual. And that's all they're doing is just making sure it's it's a quality and safety inspection that they applying to the operation itself. Okay, any other questions for Cornel and myself? For public liability insurance, yes, there is. We currently, there's two companies that I'm familiar with, but the one that we working with, in inverted commas, because we refer our clients to them, is Hollard Insurance. And they were the first guys on the scene when the drone operation kicked in. So if you want, and there's nothing for us in this, I will email you, Jonathan, I'll email you the operator's name, and then you can deal directly with them and get a feel. If you want to look at something else and see, well, what else is available, Santam Multiplex have also just come live with that, and that's in the past 2 weeks that I've seen a second option as such. So if you're interested, I can put you on straight. They can talk to you, give you more accurate information. Cornel, you got anything that you want to add to that? Okay, Cornel's just gone off the line. So let's just type her a message, see if she wants to add anything to your query, Jonathan. And it's also a good question, that insurance, you do have a problem when it comes to ROC commercially. Okay, there's a question. Yes, and then Cornel just remind me John Hill's question. Johnson, she also said there's also the third one is Dennis Jankalo and Associates. Dennis Jankalo and Associates, that aviation insurance company. They also been around for many. So there's a third option as well. So we can, we can put that into, we can facilitate, and I can give you all that information. Michiel is asking, with our systems facilitating the whole process, what is the best case or realistic time to complete the whole ROC certification? Okay, so that one, a real tip to answer in terms of the process. So let's take it like this, Michiel. If you are, let's take it, you haven't even got your remote pilot license, you're just starting out, and you're going to do this piggyback with, or in conjunction with the application for the ROC. Then realistically, what we say to our clients is it's going to take approximately 4 to 6 months for the ROC application itself, but that's dependent primarily on the issue of the ASL, your air service license for the Department of Transport. And as you guys may or may not know, there is a backlog at the CAA currently, purely because of there was a couple of issues from their side when they didn't realize they're going to have such a surge of applications and people wanting ROCs, so they weren't ready for it from a staffing perspective and so on, and they had to come up with plans quickly, which they have. And as I said earlier, we've got an open door policy with them, so we keep communication with them, and their process is picking up the pace to meet the demands of the industry. So 4 to 6 months is a good timeline to work with, so long as we, in terms of that, is that we stick to the to the phase, the application, the process itself. And one of the big things there would be to ensure that the ROM is as correct as it can be, facilitation, before it gets sent to the CAA for their and then we've got the next question was there. Mike said the ops manual should be prepared for all our payers will be operating. And Cornel's I can also answer. She says, Mike, you only have to prepare for the categories that you. So just as an example, say aerial photography, and you're going to be doing development work. That would be the two categories that you're now. This would go into your letter of intent. If you decide in the future, or duplication, do it in two parts. If you decide during the ROC application that you wish to amend that, then we amend it during the process. But once your ROC is approved, if you decide that you want to extend on, now you wish to go into topography or something like that, then you would have to apply for an amendment fee. So yeah, so between myself and Cornell, Mike, I think we've answered that. And yeah, Ike, your other question was how to update, and as Cornell says, it's a paper exercise and fairly easy once you have your ROC in place. You know, because the ROC is the template for it is so well structured in terms of the QMS and SMS and the safety and security and emergency procedures. So to amend it, once you've got the template in place, as Cornell says, it's just a paper exercise. Okay, anyone else? You guys are all still with us, which is fantastic. It's really great to see that. So if there's, you know, if you guys, after this webinar, if you still have any other questions, please feel free to email us. It's dylan@talkingradio.co.za, and just email me with your query, and I'll definitely respond. And yes, if you are interested in us assisting you with the facilitation, please just follow the link that we've put up, and Susan will get back to you, and we will be able to definitely discuss a special offer for you on the facilitation. We know that we got the best service in South Africa with what we're doing, and we giving really good price. So we know we can meet the demands of the industry. And in this case, we've just between Cornell and myself, we've got over 40 years of experience in this aviation business. So don't fret about the ROC itself, the application. And really, if you decide to go on your own, it isn't impossible. It's a lot of work to go through, but it's not impossible. ROC ballpark. Okay, Andre, that one, it depends on the case application. But what I will tell you is that our competitors are charging an average of 55,000 Rand plus, and we will almost less than half of that. So a good ballpark figure. But as we say, for you guys, specific on this webinar, if you email us, we open to give. So case by case, we're not going to put something across the board, because it depends as well what you are. You might just be a two-man operation, as Cornell said right in the beginning of the presentation, a small operation, maybe just with one multi-rotor, and you're just going to be doing weddings. So, you know, we will definitely look at case by case, just for guys that have all attended the webinar. All right, so thanks very much for participation, and it's really great interacting with you and being able to answer questions. We're open to any other questions that you have. I'll be in contact with you guys via email. This link will be sent to you, so it's there for you to go through. And there is no exam that's with it, unfortunately, because yeah, it's pretty hectic in aviation. So thank you very much. I'll leave the lines open for a few more, for another minute or two. I'm going to say cheers from my side and from Marlene and from Cornell. And we thank you for your participation, and we look forward to communicating further with you by email or telephonically 082-940-6473. Thank you very much. And that's myself, Dylan, signing off. Thank you.